Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Vav Amud Aleph, 6a of Taanis. We are 4 lines down. There's right in the middle of the line, you have 2 dots. It says, Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Yoreh. So it quotes the pasuk from Kriya Shema, where Hashem says, V'nasati mitar artzachem be'ito, I will give the rain of your land in its time, Yoreh u'malkosh. The early rains, Yoreh means the early rains, u'malkosh, and the late rains. So what the Gemara wants to know, why are the early rains called Yoreh? So the Gemara says, Yoreh shemoreh es habrios, because it instructs. The word Yoreh is like the word Torah, really, instruction. It's Mora, it teaches, it instructs es habrios, people, l'hatiach gagosein, to coat their roofs in cement or plaster, or that the winter's here. It's now time to put the coating onto your roof. Ulahachnis is perosein, and to bringing your fruit, which are out drying in the fields throughout the summer. The lassos called tzarking, and to do all of their needs, because the rainy season is now beginning. So the first rain announces to the people, instructs them it's time to get ready for winter, and prepare your roof for winter, bring in all the fruit and things that are drying in the fields. That's why it's called a Yoreh. Davar acher, another explanation for why it's called Yoreh, is shemerave es haaretz. It satiates the ground. Umashke atom, and it waters it all the way down to the depths. So the word Yoreh would be related to the word mirave, which means to satiate. Shenemar, as it says, quotes a pasuk in Tehillim. The pasuk says, Tilameha rave, the furrows are satiated by water. Naches gidudeha, it's a joy for the people, for those who walk there, for the people. Berevivim timo gegna, with showers you soften the earth. Simcha tivarech, and the sprouts, that which sprouts, will be blessed. So altogether, the pasuk says tilameha rave, its furrows will be satiated by water. Naches gidudeh, it's a nachas, it's a joy for the people. Berevivim timogegna, with showers you soften it. Simcha tevarich, and that which sprouts from it will be blessed. So there you have this idea that the rain is rave, it satiates the ground. And that could be what the word Yoreh relates to. Davar acher, another explanation. Yoreh, it's called Yoreh sheyored benachas, because the early rains fall benachas, softly. Ve'eno yored bezaf, it doesn't fall hard, wild. And in this interpretation, the word Yoreh, how does it relate to the word yored benachas? So Rashi tells us that it's like the way that someone teaches, that the best way to teach is benachas, is gently. And if you want to get something across, if you want to convey something, so the best way to do it is benachas, gently. That's how you're yoreh, that's how you instruct, that's how you teach. And so too, the rain conveys its blessing benachas, gently, the early rains. And that's why the early rains are called Yoreh, because they instruct, they convey the way that one would teach, which is gently. Now the Gemara says, 1 second. All this is assuming that Yoreh is a positive thing. Ask the Gemara, or maybe Eino Yoreh ela shemesir asaperos. Umashtif es azraim, umashtif es eilanos. Maybe Yoreh is a bad thing. The early rains are bad. Why are they bad? Or how does that relate to the word Yoreh? So there's 2 possibilities. Either it comes from a lashon, a language of klala, of curse, like we find the language Yoro Yoreh, I believe that's by the pasuk says if those who approach Har Sinai when they weren't allowed to, yaro yare, there's a curse upon them. I think that relates to the word arur. And, or also a possibility that Rashi suggests is it's possible that it relates to the word yoreh kechetz. It shoots like an arrow. So the word yoreh can also mean to shoot. So maybe the word yoreh here is either from the word curse or from the word shooting, and it refers to that the early rains have the power to meser saberes, to remove any fruit that still remain on the trees. Again, it's the beginning of the winter time. There's not much fruit on the trees, but you have certain fruits that remain, such as esrogim and rimonim, pomegranates. Umashtif as it washes away the seeds. If you've already planted, it comes the rain, it can wash away the seeds. Umashtif as it can wash away trees. So maybe the language of yoreh is actually a negative language. Talmud Lomar, that's why the pasuk says malkosh. It says yoreh umalkosh, the early rains and the late rains. And ma malkosh libracha, and just like the malkosh is for a positive blessing, af yoreh libracha, so too the yoreh, the early rains are a positive blessing. Why does malkosh imply a positive? That's positive. How do we know that malkosh is positive? So we'll see the Gemara, just like it's interpreted yoreh, is also going to interpret malkosh, and it's going to have generally positive explanations for what malkosh is. But ask the Gemara, but wait, maybe it's not. There's also negative ways to interpret the word malkosh, as we'll see. So it says, eino malkosh ella, but maybe malkosh is negative, and the malkosh, the late rains, are shemapilas abatim. They knock over houses, umeshaber seilanos, and they destroy trees, umalas asakayim, and they bring locusts, they bring plagues of insects and locusts along with them. And maybe malkosh is in fact negative. So you're trying to prove that yoreh has a positive connotation from the fact that malkosh has a positive connotation, and they're setting, in the same sentence, yoreh or malkosh, but maybe malkosh is actually negative, and so too yoreh is negative. So the Gemara says you're right, but we know that actually yoreh is positive. Talmud Lomar yoreh, that yoreh is positive. Ma yoreh libracha, and just like we know that yoreh, the early rains, that expression is a positive expression, and it's bracha, it's blessing. Af malkosh libracha, so too the late rains are a blessing. So we seem to be going back and forth. We say, yoreh seems to have a positive connotation. We say maybe it has a negative connotation. So no, because it's grouped with malkosh, and malkosh is positive. We say, but maybe malkosh is negative. But it's grouped with yoreh, and yoreh is positive. Well, I thought we just asked that maybe yoreh is negative. Maybe they're both negative. So to that, the Gemara says, the yoreh gufay minong. How in fact do we know that yoreh is positive? Because we actually have a pasuk that makes it clear. Because the pasuk says, the verse says in Yoel, it says, Ubnei Tzion gilu v'simchu b'Hashem Elokechem. Children of Zion, celebrate and rejoice in Hashem your God. Ki nasan lachem es hamoreh l'tzedakah. Because he's giving you moreh, this is the same as yoreh, the early rains, as a tzedakah, as a charity, as a gift. So you see clearly it says rejoice in the yoreh, in the moreh, in the early rains. So you see that that's a positive thing. And it continues as v'yored lachem geshem moreh malkosh barishon, and he made it rain, both the early rains and the late rains in the first month. We talked about this in an earlier week, that year in Yoel, all the rain came in Nisan. But the idea, you see that yoreh has a positive connotation. It says that it's a bracha, you should rejoice in the yoreh. So it refers to good rain. And if yoreh refers to good rain, so malkosh refers to good rain, because they're said in one breath, yoreh or malkosh. In other words, the pasuk says, Hashem says, if you listen to my mitzvos, v'nasati mitar artzachem be'ito yoreh malkosh. I'll give you rain, yoreh malkosh, the early rains and the late rains. Now, it seems obvious that that's a positive thing, because it says if you listen to the mitzvos, then I'll give you yoreh malkosh. What was even the consideration that maybe it was negative? So Rashi explains that the Gemara was suggesting that maybe there's a way to read the verse that separates them. That it's if you listen to my mitzvos, V'nasati matar artzachem be'ito, I'll give you the rain in its proper time. But there's also, then it switches gears, and it could be read, and also though, there's another alternative, which is, Nasatim ta'artzachem be'ito yorel malkosh, that I could also, if you don't listen, I'll give you yorel malkosh, I'll give you these things which are bad. That was what the Gemara was entertaining, even though it's clearly not the simple reading of the verse. But you see they're grouped together though. Whatever, either they're both good or they're both bad. And since in the end of the day we see clearly that Yoreh is good, and it's grouped together, I'll give you Yoreh or Malkosh, early rains and late rains. So we see that they're both good, like the simple reading of the verse. And we learn Malkosh from Yoreh that they're both referring to, they both have a positive connotation for good rain. Okay. The Gemara continues, we're at the next two dots, it says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Yoreh b'mar Cheshvan, u'malkosh b'nisan. The early rain comes in the month of Cheshvan, which is the month that we're in now. U'malkosh b'nisan, and the malkosh, the late rains, come in Nisan. Ask the Gemara, ask the Brisa, Ata Omer Yoreh b'mar Cheshvan, u'malkosh b'nisan. You're telling me that the early rain is Cheshvan, and the late rain comes in Nisan. Oh, Eino Ella Yoreh b'Tishrei u'malkosh b'Iyar. But maybe it's different. Maybe bump it back a month and ahead a month. In other words, maybe the early rains start in Tishrei, last month, and the late rains go all the way till Iyar. How do you know that it refers to the rains of Cheshvan until Nisan? So the Gemara says, Talmud Lomar, because the pasuk says Be'ito. It says in its proper time. And we know that the best time for rain, Tishrei, is too early. Iyar, it's already late. We want our plants to start, our crops to start drying out by then. So it says, I'll give you Yoreh and Malkosh Be'ito in its proper time. So we understand that it's referring to Mar Cheshvan until Nisan. Okay, now the Gemara is going to examine the word Malkosh. Why are the late rains called Malkosh? Malkosh, Amar Rav Nilai bar Idi Amar Shmuel. Rav Nilai bar Idi said in the name of Shmuel, it's called Malkosh because it's Davar Shemal Kash Yosein Shal Yisrael. It's something that circumcises the hard ones of Israel, meaning the holdouts, the people who are stubborn and not following the mitzvos. So the rain, or lack thereof, is a reminder to do tshuva. Like the pasuk says, Umalas levavcha, Umal Hashem elokechas levavcha. Hashem will circumcise our heart. That it circumcises, it refines, it helps, it assists us, encourages us to do teshuvah, to return to Hashem. So the word malkosh is a conjunction of the word mal, circumcise, and kashos, the hard ones, the stubborn ones. But this circumcises us, it helps us repent. That's the first explanation. Debei Rabbi Yishmael Tana, in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yishmael, they explained, it's called Malkosh because it's Davar Shememale Tevua B'Kashel. It's the rain that fills the produce in its kashing, in its straw, in its stalks. Meaning it's the late rain. The grain is already almost fully matured. And this fills up the stalk with, or the ear really, I guess, with kernels. So it's the word mimale, which means to fill. That's the mal, and the kosh is the kashin, the grain stalks. It's mimale the kashin. It fills the stalks. That's another explanation why it's called malkosh. B'masnisatan, and a brisa was taught, it's called malkosh because it's davar sheyored al hamelilos ve'al hakashin. Because it's the rain that falls on melilos, which are the ears of the grain, and the kashin and the stalks. Meaning, it's the late rain. The grain is already standing, it's already matured, it's already almost full. And so it's rain, it's malkosh, it's rain that falls on mal, meaning melilos, the ears of grain, and on the kosh, on the kashin, on the stalks of grain. Okay, so that's why it's called Malkosh. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Yoreh b'mar Cheshvan, u'Malkosh b'Nisan. Again, like we said before, the early rains are in Cheshvan, and the late rains are in Nisan. Ata Omer Yoreh b'mar Cheshvan, Oh, Eino Ala B'chodesh Kislev. Now the Brisa goes the other way. And it says, you're saying the early rains are in Cheshvan. Maybe the early rain starts later in Kislev. That's the proper time. Well, or that's what's referred to. But again, the Gemara answers, the Brisa answers Talmud Lomar, Be'ita Yoreh Malkosh. It says in its proper time, the Yoreh and Malkosh. And Malkosh Be'ito, just like the Malkosh is in its proper time, Af Yoreh Be'ito. So too, the Yoreh, the early rains, are also, Be'ito, are also in their proper time. Okay, it's a little bit unclear to me what the Gemara was entertaining, or why the Gemara needs to learn it from Malkosh. Meaning, I would have just said, like we said before, that the Gemara earlier asked maybe the early rain is in Tishrei, and said no, it says Be'ito in its proper time. Now it's asking maybe it's in Kislev, so it should say again no, it says Be'ito in its proper time. But for some reason, the Gemara has to say, no, just like the Malkosh is Be'ito is in its proper time, so too the Yoreh is in its proper time. I'm not sure why you need Malkosh to teach me that. But in any event, that's what the Gemara says. Okay. The Gemara continues after the parentheses. It says, Tanya Idach, we're learning another Brisa. Yoreh b'Mar Cheshvan Malkosh b'Nisan. Again, Yoreh, the early rains are in Mar Cheshvan, and the late rains are in Nisan. Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. The Chachamim Omrim, and the Chachamim say, Yoreh b'Kislev, that the early rains are in Kislev. So, here you have, or they continue into Kislev, at least. Here you have a Brisa, actually, that there's an opinion that the Yoreh is in Kislev. Now the Gemara asks, Man Chachamim, whose opinion do these Chachamim, these sages, represent? So Amar Rav Chisda Rabbi Yossi. This is actually the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Where do we encounter this Rabbi Yossi that we can associate with this opinion? D'Tanya, because we have a Brisa. The Brisa says, Ezohi Revia Rishona. Habachira. Excuse me. So the Gemara now is going to ask, within Yoreh, within the early rains, there's different stages. The Gemara later is going to elaborate why we need these different stages. So the first stage is if the rains come quick, we're going to call that Bechira. That's with a cup, as the Gemara is going to say. It's the fast ones, the quick developing ones. So the early rains are the first rains. Then there's going to be a second rain, and then there's going to be a third rain. This is all within Yoreh, all within the early rains. And we're going to see there's a reason why we want to identify when the normal times for these rains are. But for now, we're just going to identify when they are, and shortly we'll see why it's important to know when they are. So it says, Ezohi Revia Rishona. When's that typically the first rainfall of the early rains? So the first opinion of the Brisa says, HaBechira b'Shlosha b'Mar Cheshvan. If it comes quick, it's on the 3rd of Cheshvan. Beinanis, if it's like intermediate in terms of when it comes, it's B'Shiva Bo, it's on the 7th of Cheshvan. And Afelon, if it's slow in coming, it's B'Shiva Asar Bo, it's on the 17th of Cheshvan. Divrei Reb Meir, that's the opinion of Reb Meir. After the 17th of Cheshvan, it's considered late. So again, Reb Meir says if it's early, if it's fast, it comes on the early rain comes on the 3rd of Cheshvan. If it's intermediate, average, it comes on the 7th. And if it's kind of late, it's on the 17th. But after that, it's really late. That's Reb Meir's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, B'Shiva u'v'yadzayim u'v'esrim b'Shlosha. He says, no, the early time, if it comes quick, it's on the 7th. If it's intermediate, it's on the 17th. And if it's late, it's on the 23rd. So just to keep track again, Reb Meir said early is the 3rd, intermediate is the 7th, and late is the 17th. Rabbi Yehuda says early is the 7th, intermediate is the 17th, and the late is the 23rd. Rabbi Yossi says, he bumps it even one more step, and he says, Biyad Zayin, uve Esher Mushlosha, uve Rosh Chodesh Kislev. No, early is the 17th, intermediate is the 23rd, and the late is the first of the next month, the first of Kislev. V'chein hayi Rabbi Yossi Omer, and Rabbi Yossi would say, Ein hayichida mis'anin ad sheyagia Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Individuals don't have to fast for lack of rain unless the first of Kislev has come and it still hasn't rained. And that's why we need these different dates. Already we see what the third date is for. If the third date passes, it's time to start fasting. When's that third date? When is it considered late? So according to Rabbi Meir's dates were the 3rd, the 7th, and the 17th. According to and so after the 17th you would fast. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it was the 7th, the 17th, and the 23rd. And after the 23rd, you would start to fast. And according to Rabbi Yossi, it's the 17th, the 23rd, and the first of the next month of Kislev, and after that you would start to fast. Amar Rav Chisda said, Halacha k'Rabbi Yossi. The halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, this last opinion, that the dates are the 17th, the 23rd, and the 30th. Ameimar masni lahad Rav Chisda b'halishna. Ameimar taught the teaching of Rav Chisda in the following language. B'shlosha b'mar Cheshvan, on the 3rd of Cheshvan, sha'aling asagishamim, we start to ask for rain. We start saying the same Ta'alamat, in our Shemona Esrei, we start to say, and God should give us rain and dew. Or dew and rain. That's the first opinion. And on the 3rd, Rabbi Gamliel Omer b'shiva bo. Rabbi Gamliel said it's on the 7th that you start saying it. Amar Rav Chisda, and this is what Ameimar is saying now in the name of Rav Chisda. Amar Rav Chisda about that. Halacha k'Rabbi Gamliel. The halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, that when do you start saying the same Ta'alamat? On the 7th of Cheshvan, which is what they do in Eretz Yisrael. Now, let's just backtrack a little bit. We have these 3 opinions that we talked about as to when is the earliest time for it to rain, when is it intermediate, average, and when is it late. So the 3 opinions about earliest were, according to Rabbi Meir, the 3rd, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the 7th, and according to Rabbi Yossi, the 17th. Now that date seemingly is the day that it's now proper to start asking for rain, because that's when rain is now, could be expected. It's early, but it's expected already. So if Rabbi Gamliel is saying, well, that's the Tanna Kama, the first opinion of this brisa, is saying you start asking for rain on the 3rd. And Rabbi Gamliel is saying you start asking on the 7th. So the Tanna Kama, the first opinion, is like the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who said that the early rains could start on the 3rd of Cheshvan. The opinion of Rabbi Gamliel, who said you start asking for rain on the 7th, is like Rabbi Yehuda, who said that the early rains start on the 7th. Now, Rav Chisda is saying the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, which means, seemingly, that Rav Chisda holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that the dates are the 7th, the 17th, and the 23rd. The 7th, the 17th, and the 23rd. So according to this, Meimar's version of Rav Chisda has him paskening the halacha differently. Meaning the first way we quoted Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Chisda halacha Rabbi Yossi, we said. Rav Chisda said the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, who has the dates as 17, 23rd, and the 1st of Kislev. And now, but Meimar's version of Rav Chisda has him saying the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, which is seemingly like the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who has the dates as 7, 17, and 23. The Gemara asks, Kimar Azla, whose opinion does the following brisa go? Like Hadatanya, that which we learned in a brisa, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said, Gishamim shayardu shiva yamim ze'achar zeh, atamona bahen revia rishona ushnia ushlishis. If it rains for 7 days straight, you can count it as both the first and second rain, or the second and third rain. So Kiman Rabbi Yossi, that would be like the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Why? Again, the statement was, if it rains for 7 days straight, we can consider it like the first and second rain, or the second and third rain. Now, let's look at the dates that everyone said. According to Rabbi Meir, the first opinion, the first date for rain, the first period of rain is the 3rd of Nisan, and that goes until the 7th, not Nisan, the 3rd of Cheshvan until the 7th of Cheshvan, which is a 4-day difference. But then, between the 2nd and 3rd times is the 7th till the 17th. So if it rains for 7 days straight, starting from let's say the 7th of Nisan, the 7th of Cheshvan, if it rains for 7 days straight, you're only up to the 14th of Cheshvan. So you haven't actually hit the 17th, you haven't hit the new time, that now it's considered the later time for rain. So, which would be the Revi'ah Shlish, the third rain. So according to Rabbi Meir, it's not true that whenever it rains for 7 days straight, you can count either the first and second rain or the second and third rain, because within those dates, between the 7th of Cheshvan and the 17th, it could rain for 7 days straight, and you haven't hit the 17th yet, and you're still in the Revi'ah Shniya, you're in the second rain period. According to Rabbi Yehuda, his dates were the 7th, the 17th, and the 23rd. So it's true, between the 17th and the 23rd, you have 7 days, and if it rains for 7 days straight then, you'll have hit both the second and third periods of rain. But in the first section, the 7th to the 17th, that's 10 days. So if it rains for 7 days straight, you're not going to have both the Revi'ah Rishona and Shniya, both the first and second rain. So this statement that when it rains for 7 days straight, you have either the first and second or the second and third, does not fit in the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda either. But who does it fit like Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi's dates are the 17th, the 23rd, and the 1st of Cheshvan, the 1st of Kislev, and there's 7 days between each of those dates, and therefore if it rains for 7 days straight within this period of time, so any 7 days straight is going to hit 2 of the tekufos, 2 of the time periods, and you'll either have the first and second time period together, or you'll have the second and third time period together. So the statement of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who said that if it rains for 7 days straight, you'll have either the first and second rain period or the second and third, would be in line with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who has the dates as the time for the first rain is the 17th, the time for the second one is the 23rd, and the late one, it's already late, again, still within the early season, but the early rains, but the later time is the 1st of Kislev. Amar Rav Chisda, halacha k'Rabbi Yossi. Again, we have that Rav Chisda said the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, and as I mentioned, this is not consistent with Ameimar's version of Rav Chisda, who said that the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, that you start saying the same tal on the 7th of Cheshvan, and according to that, the halacha, according to Rav Chisda, is like Rabbi Yehuda, who said that the early rain comes on the 7th of Cheshvan, and therefore there are those, Rashi actually over here wants to change the girsa, change the version of the Gemara, to say that, I believe Rashi said it, Rashi quotes an opinion that it should say that Rav Chisda said that halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, then it would be consistent with Ameimar's version of Rav Chisda. Okay, now the Gemara wants to know, why do I need these different dates? What are they for? So we've already basically learned it, but so Bishlam Revi'ah Rishona, it says, I understand I need that first date, the date of the first rain. When is it normal for the first rain to come? Lishol, because that's when you start asking for rain. Whenever that first rain should come, that's when you can start asking for rain, the same Tal Matar. And Shlishis, I understand why I need the date of that third rain, or what's considered the late time. It's already late if it hasn't rained by then. Lehisanos, to know when to start fasting. If it hasn't rained by that late date, then it's time to start fasting. Shnia lemai, but why do I need that middle date? What is the function of the middle date? So, the Gemara is going to have a number of answers. We're only going to do one this week. Amar Reb Zera said, Linidarim, I need that middle date for the purpose of vows. Ditanan, because we learned in a Mishnah, the Mishnah says in Nidarim, Hanoder ad hagishamim, if somebody takes a neder, takes a vow, and expresses that it will extend until the rains, I take a vow until the rains, I won't get hana, I won't benefit from a certain person or object until the rains. So when are the rains? When does that vow expire? So the Gemara says, Misha yardu gishamim asheter reviyashnia. It's from when the rain starts, the first rain, but until the second rain has fallen, it's still ada gishamim. It's still, the rains haven't come yet, or haven't. When you see, it's not really the rains yet until that second rain. So if somebody takes a vow until the rains, ada gishamim, so their vow will extend until that reviyashnia, until that second rain. The reason why the language implies that is because when it comes to Nidarim, Rashi says, when it comes to vows, we go by the way people speak, what they mean. And since when people say until the rains, they don't mean the first time it rains. It's not the rain yet. By the second time, now it's the rain. So if a person takes a vow and says until the rain, that will only end once it's rained twice. That's one possibility Rashi says. Another possibility is that Gishamim is plural until the rains, so it's until there's two rainfalls, until the second Reviyah. And that's why the second rainfall is important. It's until that time that one's oath would apply. Now, what it seems to be saying is that these different opinions are giving a date for when that second rain is, and the vow would only apply until that date, whether it actually rains or not. Whatever that date is, whether you hold it's the 7th, whether you hold it's the 17th, whether you hold it's the 23rd, but the vow will only go until that date, whether it actually has rained or not. That seems to be what the Gemara is telling us. Okay, thanks so much for listening. Have a great week.